No moon, Amavasya, like yesterday. Okay? What is the significance of this to us? Why do people pay observance of full moon, no moon? What is the significance of this?
It affects your mind.
Affects the water, the tides, affects the body.
Yes, that is one thing. Yeah.
It's to do with your mind, actually.
Okay, what is this to do with the body?
I think during the mind goes up and down.
Mind goes up.
Rather the person's.
I am becoming a lunatic now. Is the mind going up and what is going up and down? The tides, she said. What is the tide? What is the tide? Our own body, the fluids are
the
up.
Energy.
They are gushing. And then the context of why lunatics are howling when there is a full moon is because they are disarrayed. They can't control their emotions anymore. So when the full moon is there, they are howling because the whole body system is completely raised and they get depressed when the body is not. When the moon is low, then what happens? They get depressed. When the moon is so, they are swinging with emotions. Our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, which have to be in balance, our adrenaline and all these things, during the tide of the moon, along with the tide, they also increase, they also decrease. This is a simple scientific fact. You have to know this. And therefore in Sanatana Dharma, what people used to observe austerities practices during the time when the moon is swinging like this, their mind is swinging. To control the mind, and to control the mind, the only way to control the mind is to control the body. Just see how beautiful that is. Because what is causing the shadow? Earth, no. If earth is your body, what is causing disturbance of your mind? Your body. And how is your body causing disturbance of your mind?
Senses.
How?
Senses.
Senses. But if you eat a lot, what happens to your mind? If you eat a real 3 cupfuls of ice cream, can you be sitting on a couch and then watching some game? You shouldn't be. You should be going out and running because the body is saying, come on, you got all this calorie, your mind is pumped up, it is fired up, you got to go out and run. But what are we doing with our kids? We give them a pizza and a glass of Coke. We put them in front of the TV with a video game. Their mind is saying something else, but their body is arrested. Then what happens? You get all these problems of ADD, BDD, CDD, all these attention deficient disorders and all this stuff they're talking about. It is nothing to do with any neuronal dysfunction. It is the body-mind balance that is disturbed because of the food habits, because of the sleep habits, because of not regulating the body and the senses in a proper way. Simple and pure. No, it is simple and straight. Therefore, Bhagavan said, so is the food, such are the thoughts. You understand? You don't need any science classes for this. If you learned Vedas, then you don't need to know any other things because everything, the body, mind, the intellect, relationship with the senses, everything that is replicated outside in the cosmos is completely replicated. Anoraniyan, Mahato Mahiyan. The gross, the subtle and the causal, they are all connected very intricately. Now why did I talk about this? What is related to your dulling of the mind and your fullness of the mind is nothing to do with the moon itself, not with the mind. It is the shadow of the body. That means when you are completely indulged in senses and body consciousness, then what happens? Your mind is dulled because it is shadowing the moon. It is shadowing your mind. Now, during this time, what he was asking about the mind, moon and the intellect, the sun has not changed, but it is the context of again the body consciousness. Therefore, you go through austerious practices like you observe fasting during Ramadan, you observe fasting, you observe in Kartika Masa, which is the month of November, you eat only one time a day. Why they put all this stuff? Then there is Navaratri, then there is all kinds of Ratris, there is a Margasira, what do you call that? Margasira Masa, they do the different practices, Dhanurmasa practices. Why is all this happening during these 4 months? It is all to do with your mind and the intellect body phenomena. BMI. What is BMI? Body, mind, intellect. That is the right definition. But what do we call that in science? Body mass index. Yeah, exactly. Body mass index, BMI. If it keeps big, big and big, then what happens? Body, mind, intellect. Body is big, mind is less, intellect is 0. Okay? As you become more body conscious, then what happened? Body is big, mind is less, intellect is 0. This is the real body mass index. But you should be doing IMB, not BMI. Intellect should be the big, mind should be less, body consciousness should be even less. Then what happens? When the intellect is fully radiant, then life is completely clear. Now, we are learning Sri Suktam, let's come back to that. Now, why I started talking about this Shravana Masa, this is the month in which you start actually purifying yourself. And that purification is associated with Lakshmi. And that Lakshmi is nothing but auspiciousness, positivity. And therefore, this is the month where Lakshmi is worshipped. Hello. Now, how clear that is? It is not the month you simply put some Varalakshmi and then you throw flowers at her and then you are asking more money. This is not the month for that. Lakshmi is associated with the purity, serenity, auspiciousness. That is what has to be invoked during this month. And the same definitions of auspiciousness, serenity, all-knowing, all-pervading, 2 letters for it, Shiva. Therefore, during this month of Shravana, when you worship Shiva, it's even more auspicious. And when you worship only 2 months for Shiva, very, very auspicious for worshipping Shiva. One is Shravana Masa and the second is Kartika Masa. And during this Shravana Masa, then what we are first actually starting it is, when we are invoking this positive consciousness, the mantra of Sri Suktam is completely describing what this positive consciousness is. Ashwapurvam, Radhamadhyam, Hastinada Prabodhinim, Sriyam Devim Upahvaye, Srirma Devir Jushatam. And I explained the meaning of this last week, the class before the last class. Okay? Ashwapurvam means, Ashwa stands for thoughts. First the thoughts. Then Ratha is your chariot. What is the chariot? What is the chariot? Body. Madhyam, in the center of your body. Thoughts, body, centered in that. Now, what is the sound that she is giving? Hastinada Prabodhinim. Hastinada Prabodhinim is the sound that you hear when this auspiciousness is the sound of an elephant. Auspiciousness. Yeah. Then when she is calling with the sound of that elephant that you are able to hear, the call of this consciousness, don't call it Lakshmi and all this stuff, because people like Elaine and Tass wondering, they don't have any relationship with Lakshmi or any business deal with them, right? But everybody has one business deal, which is everybody wants to be pure and everybody wants this super consciousness connectivity. This super consciousness, when it is calling, then what happens? Sriyan Devim Upahvaye, Srirma Devi Jushatam. You are invoking this divine consciousness, positive consciousness, invoking it, Sriyan Devim Upahvaye. Then when you invoke positive consciousness, what does it do? Srirma Devi Jushatam. If you invoke positivity, you will also elicit positivity from outside. If you invoke negativity, you will also elicit negativity from outside. This is the simple principle. So first is be positive, be happy. Did Swami say happy be? What did he say? Be happy. First thing is be. next is happy. But what are we thinking? First we want happiness, we think is a strategy. That if we do this, then happiness will come. No. I told the story of Chinmayananda, the cat story. No? I never told you? Okay. It's time to understand this cat story. No? Chinmayananda, very beautiful story, he says. A little kitty was going around trying to catch its tail. You know how these kitties do, right? What do? They try to catch their own, they're spinning. Have you seen that? The kitties going, they'll be going like that. And then the mother watched this kitty little while. Hey, what are you doing? Why are you going around in circles? And then my teacher told me happiness is in the tail, and therefore I am trying to catch it, and therefore I am going around like this to catch the happiness in the tail. You know what the mom said? My teacher also told me the same thing. I started walking and now happiness follows me. Okay? So what is Swami saying? First is be. Next is be is yourself. Then happiness is your tail. But what we are thinking, we should put happy, be. Right? Sriyandevi Mupakvaye. Srirmadevi Jushatam means Sriyandevi Mupakvaye is be. Srirmadevi Jushatam is happy. Okay? Very simple. Sriyandevi Mupakvaye is be. If you invoke your being, yourself, and you are present to the moment, then happiness automatically follows. Srirma Devi Jushata. When this happiness is following you, how do you look like? That's the next mantra. Okay? Once you are be happy, how is the description of that be happy? First you have to be don't worry. Then you have to be happy. Hakuna Matata. Okay? So first you have to be. Then happiness follows you. But we don't be. We are expecting everything else, everybody else to be. Not we. Because spirituality is for others, not for us. Right? We expect everybody else to be perfect. Oh, why is he like that? Why is she like that? Why is he doing? Everybody asks, why am I like this? Why am I like that? Why am I doing this? Anybody asking that question? So, the context of the first thing is like Mahatma Gandhi said, be the change you wish to see. You have to be that change. Then what happens is, then everything else appears to be changing. Nobody has changed around you. Hello, let me assure you that, okay? Nobody has changed. Father-in-law, mother-in-law, nobody changed. Same nasty people. Once you're starting B, then somehow they seem to have changed. But what changed is not outside. What changed is inside. Sriyandevi Mupakvaye. First, I want to be that positivity. First, I want to be that positivity. Srirma Devi Jushtam. Then automatically happiness comes. How is this? Yes.
So you said be yourself, and be happy. So you change within, then you'll see the change outside.
Actually, the point is, you don't have to change any damn thing. You are happy to begin with. How do I get rid of this, get rid of that? People ask that question. Last week also somebody was asking, how do I get rid of that? Get rid of what? What you're trying to get rid was not there to begin with. You acquired it. What is so easy to give up what you acquired? Put it on a garage sale. Let somebody else pick it up. Hello? Nobody will pick it up. So there is nothing called getting rid of something. You understand? This is very simple concept. Be yourself means be that self which is all loving and all pervading. What is in between? What is in between us? What we are beginning to see is that we are making ourselves of something which we are not to begin with anyway, because somebody told you. And then you start picking up their perceptions, and you start begin to make yourself of what? Others think who you are, not who you really are. Then the problem comes is, then they say, you are beautiful, you are very happy. You are ugly, you are depressed, you are this, you are that. Who is telling all this? Somebody else from outside. I was listening to Sringeri Peethadipati, Adi Shankaracharya of Sringeri Peetham last night. Very beautifully, somebody was asking, if we are really, somebody asked the question, if we are truthful, if we are rightful, if we are this and that, we won't succeed in life. And so we will never be happy. This is the question some young guy asked him. Very genuine question. Today in life, Swamiji, if I am very truthful and if I am this, if I am that, I will be unsuccessful in life. Then Swamiji asked a very beautiful question. What is the point of why you want to get success? And the answer the young guy gave is, to be happy. Right? Then he said, who is giving you a happiness? Success or yourself? Hello?
You have to be happy.
Yeah. Success or yourself? Who is giving happiness to success? It's you who is making yourself happy through success. It's nothing to do with the outside thing. Happiness and contentment is already you. So why do you have to go after something and then become very successful, means making a lot of money, and then you're depressed and you're very unhappy? Show me one guy that is absolutely rich and sleeping well in the night. That's what Swamiji asked. They're worried about how to evade the taxes and do something else because they don't want to give it to government. Then they're giving it to charity. Then this cycle of unhappiness is already continuing. And so Swamiji said very beautifully, the point of success, if it is to be happy, if you're already happy, what does that success mean for you? So somebody was asked, one lama asked a guy, what happens after you're working very hard, Swamiji, 18 out of 24 hours. Oh, very good, very nice. Hard working is good. But what is the point of all of that? Oh, so that I can make so much money, I can quickly retire, and then I can take my guitar, sit on a beach and play. And then he showed one guy.
It's already doing it.
He's already doing it. Why you have to go through? So now the question that comes is, therefore, does it mean we should not work? Does it mean that we should not do this? Should not? That's a very genuine question. If I'm very happy, let me not study. Okay? I'm very happy. Let me not. Is that the point of that? Is that the point of that? No. What's the point of this story?
Happiness is within you.
Happiness is within you, but that doesn't mean that you should not be learning and you should not be improving upon yourself. Those two are not completely connected. Then what happens? One guy is saying, completely complacent guy, very happy, and totally useless fellow to the society, burden on the society. There is another guy that works for himself and he is always happy, not to work to earn more, to get more success, etc. and burden himself. He is working enough not to be a burden on a society. When you are learned, when you are working to be happy, then you are not a burden on the society. The point of being happy is not to be a burden on the society. You understand? This is very important because youth are struggling with all of these questions in the mind. So if you are happy, be happy doesn't mean don't study, don't work, don't help, don't serve, because as long as you have the body, you have to work. No question. No other way. Are they contradicting now? Yes? Are they contradicting? Hello, I'm asking a question. Are they contradicting? So, somebody, actually Professor Anil Kumar asked Swami, August of 1999. I was in the veranda when Swami was asked this question by Professor Anil Kumar. So Swami, lot of people say we should not compete. But if we don't compete, Swami, with another guy, how can I be successful? Because it is said, Spardhaya vardhate vidya. It's only through competition that you become more learned. Swami laughed at him. That sentence is not meant for competing against others. The sentence is to compete with yourself. Every day you have to ask, how am I better than yesterday? If everybody is asking that question, better in what way? Is the question, right? Better in purity of thought, word and deed. Everybody can improve. If they're perfectly pure in their words and their actions, they have to also be completely perfect in the purity of their thought. Then when you have those three, karmanyekam, vachasekam, manasekam, mahatmanam. Karman anyat, vachas anyat, manas anyat, duratmanam. This purity that we are talking about, Sriyan Devi Mupakvaye, Srirma Devi Jushtam, I have not forgotten Sri Suktam, I am not giving a lecture outside of it. All of this is connected to Sri Suktam, because this Sri that we are talking about, this Sri Devi that we are talking about, is completely purity in thought, word and deed. And that invocation of that purity of thought, word and deed, then you become a fire of effulgence, like Zarathustra said. Zarathustra's dictum is very simple. Purity of thought, word and deed, right? And that is the most important diction of...
Yes, yes, I think what you're describing about Shri is exactly what Zarathustra says about Asha. Exactly that.
We say Ashem Vahu, right? That Ashem, Asha is purity.